Hello, welcome to our second game of the National League Division Series pregame show. Man, it has been a busy day today. We got the Atlanta game from earlier today, and now we are talking the Dodgers and the Giants. Man, it is a great time to be a baseball fan. A great day if you are a Dodgers or Giants fan, though. That is the biggest
Yeah.
topic, and that is what we are talking about right now. My name is Aaron, guys. Joined again by Steven as well. We were just cranking these things out and having a blast doing what we love to do, talking about what we love. So let's get into it here, man. Obviously, Dodgers Giants going to be a big game today. That's coming up here right at 6:37 exactly, and that is
hmm
on TBS for those of you that are watching the game tonight. Um, Walker Bueller versus Logan Webb.
Yeah.
That is the subject right there. I mean,
Mhm.
obviously Walker Bueller has been phenomenal for the Dodgers this year. Just what he's done, and obviously should be a Cy Young Award candidate as well.
Yeah.
Logan Webb, though, right, could speak for himself as well. I mean, he's been no joke as well for what
hmm
they've done. Obviously, both of these teams, not only just the pitching, but both of these teams here with over 100 wins. I mean, look, if they weren't, the craziest thing is, if they were not in the same division together, they both would have won their own division. That's how good
hmm
they both have been. Um, it starts with pitching, Steven, and we know we get into it every game. Pitching is
hmm
so crucial in these games. Um, let's start with the Giants. So obviously
Yeah.
the Giants, they've earned these 107 victories, absolutely without a doubt. Not just because they're pitching, but they're deep, and obviously the guys that started all is Brandon Belt, Brandon Crawford, and
hmm
obviously you can't count out Posey as well.
hmm
So what are the Giants? What are the Giants looking at the bigger picture today about trying to take a game from the Dodgers? I mean, obviously, a lot of people are saying it's head-to-head battle right now. There's really no line on who's gonna win this game, who's got the edge over this. But what's your take on the Giants and how far they've come so far?
Yeah. I mean, it's crazy to have 200 win teams meeting up this early in the postseason. So this is going to be exciting. My focus is going to be solely, obviously, like, again, we talk about it every show, but it's pitching. But specifically for the Giants, I mean, Logan Webb, this is a huge game for him. He's 24 years old and he's starting, game one of this series for the Giants. There's going to be a lot of pressure. He's had a good season this year. He's found the strike zone fairly often. When he did start, he didn't start too many games during the regular season, so it'll be interesting to see. It's an interesting strategy, I think, from the Giants side. I think that they're especially, I think the Dodgers are looking to come out fairly aggressively. They want to steal that game on the road. They want to get that win. I think the Giants are looking to, save some of their pitchers for later in the series. So I'm going to be interested to see if the Giants, if Webb can get some, solid innings out of, pitched in this game. I think that's going to be huge for them. But that's going to be a point of focus for me. And then, like you said, I mean, just the bats of the Giants just came alive this season, and they've been fantastic. I think, obviously, like you said, Brandon Belt is going to be a point of focus for me, and then also Brandon Crawford. I mean, he's just been going crazy this year. So I think it'll be one of those things that uh, this can be a close series. This can be very competitive, but I'm excited. This is what baseball fans deserve. We want to see these two teams face off, making history for the first time. So these two teams meet in the postseason. So I'm very, very excited.
And I was just gonna say too, as well, just talking about their franchise. Obviously, both the Dodgers and the Giants. It's the first time. That's what's crazy, is the first time. Not only are they meeting here, but it's not the first time technically in their entire history. So
Yeah.
if you go back to the New York days, obviously the Brooklyn Dodgers, New York
hmm
Giants, they did play each other back then, but
Yeah.
obviously as times change, as the histories move on from the past and into the present days, that doesn't count technically as towards their journeys of where they both went to. So
Hmm.
it's incredible here, and obviously, in the Dodgers standpoint, let's talk about the Dodgers here. I mean, obviously, they're going to be without Max Muncy, which we
Hmm.
already know as well. Max Muncy, man, has been incredible for them. 36 home runs, 250 batting average, and he's got 94 RBIs on the year. How much is he going to be missed? Obviously, not just because of what he's done, because obviously everyone knows how special it is when he plays the Giants. But
Hmm.
I mean, how much is his bat is going to be missed in the lineup here for the Dodgers? I mean, look, they're going to have Albert Pujols stepping up here when
Hmm.
they need to. They're going to have Matt Beatty. Matt Beatty, as we saw, played in the game, in the wild card game. So there's different options. They also have Billy McKinley. Um, where do the Dodgers go without him as well? And who do you think is the guy ultimately for the Dodgers? Who is their next? Who do you think the next man up should be for these guys to help them out?
I, I think at this point it's sort of pick a Turner, whichever one, but I think, obviously, you got to talk about Justin Turner, but, I think Trey Turner is going to be huge in this series. I think, especially, just his fielding is going to be really important. But then I also, I really, it's hard to sort of pick one player. I think that it's going to be a collective effort on the Dodgers side. Like you said, it's hard to sort of, take that loss of Max Muncy so close to the start of the postseason. I do predict that he is going to come back at some point. It's probably not going to be during this series. So if they do make it past the Giants, I think you would see him try to play again. But I just wanted to, I just wanted to, focus on something that you said earlier. Walker Bueller should win the Cy Young this year. I know he's going to be a candidate, but a sub 3 ERA, 40 wins on the year with over 600 strikeouts, that's insane. I mean that
Yeah.
he has just been dealing all year. So I mean this is something where specifically in this game, I would not be surprised if he goes a solid 7 innings with no runs allowed. I think he has got that ability, and it's going to be one of those games where just like we saw the other night, or it's going to be, hey, who can produce late in the game. So it's just going to be sort of that battle of that war of attrition. Who can keep themselves ready, and then clutch hitting. It's going to come down to clutch hitting. But what do you think? What is your key to the game today?
My key to the game is, I'd say, if it okay for the Dodgers first, not just because I love the team,
Hmm.
not just because of it, but I'd say for the Dodgers, to get this done and to start off on a strong note, get the bats going.
Hmm.
Gotta go after Logan Webb here. Make
Hmm.
it obviously something that Dodgers have done all year long, and even in the past, obviously in the run that they had last season, which was obviously remarkable. Um, their biggest thing against the opposing pitching is getting their pitch count up, and I
Hmm.
think that's going to be huge. I think if you can get Logan Webb's pitch count up, get him to throw at least 30 pitches in the first inning, not chasing those curveballs, not chasing those off-speed pitches, make him
Hmm.
work, make him have to throw inside. I mean, obviously, and if the
Hmm.
Dodgers can hit the long ball, I mean, I hate to say it, but obviously Chris Taylor knows it as well. Um, the Dodgers' bread and butter here is the home run ball, and obviously
Yeah.
you're going to a hitter's park as well. Plenty of room, plenty of outfield space, and
Yeah.
obviously the bay is beautiful enough to hit a ball out of there too if you get a good pitch to hit. So I'd say for the Dodgers, I'd say that's their key to win this game. For the Giants though, if the Giants want to win this game, obviously you got to go attack some of these Dodger hitters, try and get them to chase.
Hmm.
The Dodgers don't chase very often at all. Their chase percentage rate, I believe, is like the lowest, and I believe the lowest in the National League, and I think the fourth or fifth lowest in baseball altogether, which is crazy because there's not a
Yeah.
lot of teams that could say, we have such a lowest chase rate in the league. So I'd say for them, get them to go after your pitches, try and pitch them inside. Obviously, if you're pitching Bellinger, go inside as well. He can't hit those
Mhm.
inside pitches. Get him to get the balls to stay in the yard, and obviously go after and get them. Get if you're the Giants man and you're Posey as well. Try and get Bueller out of the game. That's they're going to be their bread and butter to win this game. But obviously, I'm looking forward to it. Not just the way both teams, what they have, what the talent they have, but also the Dodgers bullpen doesn't get enough credit. And I
Mhm.
think, just the way, let's, obviously mention about it as well. They had such a remarkable game in the wild card game that they had on Wednesday night. And honestly, the fact that Max Scherzer in that game only gave up one run for them, and obviously it was an unearned run. It was an error. We all know that as well. But the fact that their bullpen just literally came in here and just shut the door. I mean, you seriously had Scherzer, Kelly, Gratterall, Trine, Knable, and Jansen, and I'd say Roberts and the bullpen doesn't get enough credit there.
Mhm.
I feel like that's the Dodgers' strong suit. I feel like they have that edge
Yeah.
over the Giants. I mean, what's your take on that? I feel like they have the bullpen. The Giants and the Dodgers have the starting pitching. I mean, that's no joke. But I feel like the Dodgers have that edge over the Giants right now.
I agree. The versatility of the Dodgers pitching is what's so impressive to me. I mean, you saw it in the wild card game. Urias was literally warming up, in the ninth inning. So if they didn't walk it off, you have you have the versatility of one of the best starting pitchers in baseball who can come in and give you productive relief innings. It's unheard of, and I like you said, I give Dave Roberts a ton of credit, and just for sort of managing that pitching staff and just keeping, you know, you always talk about it. I mean, starting pitchers who are going to the Hall of Fame like Max Scherzer, or you have to manage egos, and I think that it's been one of the strong suits of the Dodgers over the not just this season but the past few seasons. Dave Roberts has been able to manage star players really really well, and I think that he's also been able to give young guys opportunity to prove themselves in big spots in the postseason, and I think you're going to see the same. I do agree with you. I think that it's not something to scoff at. I think that the Giants have an incredible pitching staff, but I do think that the bullpen of the Dodgers is just that little bit better. And as you see games stay close or scoreless early, once you get into those later innings, that's where you're going to see the Dodgers gain a little bit of that edge, because the Giants become a little bit more vulnerable, and you might see them have to really play righty lefty and burn
Yeah.
through relief pitchers, just to try to play their matchups a little bit more, where the Dodgers can just keep everybody fresh. And so I think as this series wears on and it goes into, game 3 and game 4, you're really going to see sort of fatigue set in with the Giants. And so that's what I'm looking for. It's going to be hard to tell, this is the first game of the series, but keep an eye out for that as we move on, because that's going to be a huge factor.
Do we dare get into early predictions here? I mean, I feel like I feel like we've been semi spot on with some of our predictions, but I also feel like this series might literally be too early to call. I feel like this is going to
Mhm.
be game by game, inning by inning. I mean, these two teams, it's incredible of just what they've been doing this year, and I honestly feel like this is going to be one of those tight games tonight. What do you think?
Yeah, you know, I gotta say, I think that I don't even want to sort of say what my gut feeling is on this series until I've seen at least two games. I think once we get to game 3, it'll be a little bit, I might be able to give a little bit more of a prediction, but right now, all I can go off of is my gut, because these are, quite frankly, the two best teams in baseball. I mean, and so it's so hard to it's so hard to say. But like you said, even after game one, I'm not going to feel anything definitively. I'm going to be excited for game two. I'm just going to be ready to see what each coaching staff throws at the other, and we'll just this is going to be the most entertaining series of the postseason so far.
Oh, absolutely, without a far.
Yeah.
So where does in their offensive side here, obviously,
Mhm.
what are the Giants, when it comes to the offensive side, obviously they have Brandon Belt, Brandon Crawford,
Mhm.
Buster Posey. Um, a lot of people have been saying about their team this year, just saying, they have their moments. Obviously, I believe they're without Brandon Belt, because Brandon Belt, I believe, got hurt or something going on with his finger, I believe. Um, but I know that they're not 100% healthy. Obviously, the Giants have
Mhm.
dealt with injuries, and I mean, they've had some bizarre injuries. Obviously, COVID protocol stuff, that's out of their control as well. I know Alex Wood was affected by that as well.
Yeah.
But obviously, they're without him as well, and Brandon Belt is a big piece to their team as well. Um, who's their next man up when it comes to the Giants? I mean, you have, besides Crawford and Brandon Belt and Posey, who would you say is their next guy up to go up there and give that extra thing? I'd say maybe Chris Bryant, if he gets himself going right. I mean, obviously that he got him from the Cubs, but what's your take? Who do you think it's going to be on that team?
I mean, it's tough. It's tough to say. My gut feeling would have to be I think you're going to see some not big production, but you'll see possibly just you'll see good production from Mike Yastrzemski, and then also we got to remember there's a 36-year-old Evan Longoria on that team that he can
True.
get if he gets hot. He still has a lot of pop in that swing. So it's and like you said, Buster Posey is still effective. So there are still big producers on that roster with postseason experience. But I think it's interesting because Brandon Belt being injured, Max Muncy being injured. I think that sort of they cancel each other out. So it's like, well, okay, we're back to the drawing board here. We're back to an even matchup, and it's like
Exactly.
it's hard to sort of say. But those would be my two guesses. I think you're going to see, and I love what you said about Chris Bryant. I think Chris Bryant is one of those guys where who knows if he starts seeing the ball well, he could be a huge postseason producer for them. And again, what a major, I mean, shot clock last minute pickup for them at the trade deadline. And let's see if he can step up for them in the postseason.
Obviously, now with the Dodgers, they were cruising for 16. Now they're at 16 straight wins, and their home ravine of Travis Ravine. Um, Obviously now shooting for, they just shot for number 12.
Mm-hmm.
12 wins when Scherzer pitches as well. Dodgers actually, let's get into their rotation here. So
Mm-hmm.
their rotation now, because they didn't have to have Julio Urias pitch, and obviously
Mm-hmm.
smart decision. A lot of people have always speculated about Dave Roberts, about his decisions on what he's done in the past. I feel like he kind of made a stepping stone in the right direction finally, where
Mm-hmm.
he managed that wild card game as best as you can actually manage it as a manager.
Mm-hmm.
Um, Not having to have Julio, I feel like now the Dodgers have the rotation so set up that
Mm-hmm.
everybody's going to be on their 5 days of rest. Actually, Max Scherzer will actually be pitching on Monday night at Dodger
Mm-hmm.
Stadium. So it just kind of worked itself out where he's on his normal rest. Urias is on his normal rest. Bueller's pitching on his normal 5 days as well. Um, I feel like this is pretty well set up for the Dodgers as well. The only thing is, obviously, they had to worry about, they had to play. You have to get on a plane the night before and head out there as well. At least it's not obviously that far of a flight. But, I feel like the Dodgers have a little bit more advantage in this now because the Giants have had already a few days off. And, you could see how flat a team can come out. Do you
Yeah.
expect the Dodgers to jump on the board early?
It's tough. It's tough to say. I mean, with Webb pitching, I
Yeah.
I think that's got to be their mindset is to try to just attack him early, but in a smart way, to take a lot of pitches, get deep into the count, really make him work for it. But man, I think, like you were saying about their rotation, they have got themselves set up perfectly because you have Bueller pitching tonight, then Julio can pitch, game 2, and then Scherzer will pitch game 3, and then you can have Bueller ready to pitch for a pivotal game 4. You know what I mean? Like it's been managed so well. If need be, I think if the chips fall the Dodgers' way, you could see maybe Scherzer pitching on a short rest, but I wouldn't do it unless you absolutely need to. I think I really just think that this pitching staff, like you said, everybody's been managed so well. They're all pitching on their 5-day rest schedule, and it's for me at least. I think the game tonight, the only thing that could be the wild card factor is you saw what happened to the Red Sox. They came out. It's like they played in their World Series against the Yankees, and they come out flat. And it's like, what are we going to see? Are we going to see good Dodgers, or are we going to see emotionally sort of slow and fatigued Dodgers because of what happened in that wild card game? I don't know, and so it'll be interesting. But I think that'll be the one thing that could possibly go in the Giants' favor is if the Dodgers are just sort of on that emotional hangover from the wild card game.
Yeah, and I feel like honestly the only person on that team that might feel a little hungover from that game is Chris Taylor. Obviously, for those that don't know, Chris Taylor actually set a career historic mark in Dodgers team history. He's the first Dodger ever to score in a single elimination game, score the winning walk-off home run in a postseason game like that, and they're in the entire team history, which already speaks for itself. Maybe he got a little too much champagne, maybe, but I honestly don't think. I mean, Seager, and Bull Turners as well. I think are just hungry. I think this team has finally just said, look, we got to keep going. Like they said it best. There's 11 more wins that they're worried about. They're not worried about anything until they've won 11 straight wins. So I think that's what their focus is going in tonight. This matchup should be fun. I think I'm going to give my prediction. I think Dodgers take advantage of this game. Not just because I am a Dodgers fan, but I just think Dodgers are going to be the hungrier team tonight. I think they're going to take this 1-0 series lead tonight. Yeah. I just feel more confident in them. They've just played. Your bats are alive. You're feeling refreshed. You're ready to go, and you're hungry. Like, this is what everybody wants. It's probably going to be, honestly, the most viewed game probably around the world because of the nature of what the history is between the two teams. And we will be sharing something as well. Major MLB Network put out a beautifully done explained history of the rivalry between the two teams, and we're going to share that as well. So tune into that. Great piece as well for those of you that want to hear the history about both teams. But I gotta say, Dodgers getting this done 1-0 a series lead, and I think Bueller comes out there and just at least 7 strong innings. What do you think?
No, I my gut says you're right. I think that I love that pitching matchup. I for the Dodgers. I think you're going with sort of you have a known commodity versus a semi unknown commodity in Webb. So unless the Giants just come out completely firing on all cylinders, I think that this is a pitching battle that's going to be won by an incredible Cy Young candidate from Bueller. And I think you're right. I think the Dodgers, coming off of, with all of their experience and the fact that their goal is not just to make the postseason or not just to advance to the next round. They want a back-to-back World Series win, and they're hungry, and they have all that experience on this team. And it's not, you know, it could be a factor that they just had that emotional win, but I don't think it's going to affect them too much. I think they're going to come out and they're going to be coming out swinging.
Absolutely.
So yeah, I think you're right. I think the Dodgers win. I think it's a 1-0 Dodgers lead by the end of the night tonight.
We will just have to see, because we're going to that's going to do it for us for the National League Division Series pregame show, our second show of the evening. Tune in tonight, because guess what? We got around the MLB, and it's the postseason edition, because there's a ton of games that are going on today. And man, Steven, we love talking baseball, and we will be talking to you tonight. So make sure you tune in. There will be a time announced, most likely around 10 o'clock tonight, 9 o'clock, 10 o'clock tonight. We will let you know from Steven and myself. Enjoy the game, guys, and we will talk to you later on tonight.